The Plum and the Golden Lotus, Chongzhen version of the Embroidered Portrait, Chapter 60. Li Ping's illness and death. Simon King's career as an official. The word says, I am tired and sleepy, afraid of getting up, as if I am in a state of intoxication. And the old curtains are half hanging and half rolled up. The eyes are green with grass, and the flowers are red with tears, recalling the time when my soul and dreams were broken. I was clouds, rain and wind. The number of people returning home was miserable upstairs. There were bursts of tears and countless sorrows. It is said that when Pan Jinlian saw that the child was gone, she cheered up every day and praised her in every possible way. She pointed at the girl and cursed. Whore, I only said that you always have the sun at noon. But why is it the wrong time today? You turtle dove has fallen. The backrest of the spring stool was broken, and the chair was gone. Mrs. Wang sold the mill and couldn't push it. The old madam was dead, but there was no hope. Just like me. Li Ping clearly heard it in the room and didn't dare to say anything. She just shed tears behind her back. With this dark energy and worries, I gradually became confused, obsessed with dreams, and my daily meals were reduced. On the second day after Guangir was buried, Wu Yin'er went home. Old Feng brought a 13-year-old girl over and sold her to Sun Zui for 5 taels of silver. She changed her name to Choir. One of Li Ping missed her child, and the other to became so angry that her old illness relapsed, and her menstrual fluid continued to drip from her vagina. Simon King asked a medical officer to come and take the medicine. It was like water pouring on a stone. The more he took it, the more prosperous he became. Over the course of half a month, my appearance gradually diminished. My skin became thinner, and my beauty were no longer what they were before. Exactly, most of them have no muscles and bones. How can they suppress so many worries? One day, in early September, the weather was desolate and the golden wind gradually came. Li Ping slept alone in her room at night. The silver bed pillows were cold, and the screens were soaked in the moonlight. She thought about her child, sighed, and suddenly it was like someone popping the window lattice. Li Ping called to the maids, but they were all fast asleep and didn't answer. Instead, he got out of bed, put on his Bao's shoes, turned over his embroidered jacket, and opened the door. When he came out of the house and looked around, he seemed to see Hua Zixu holding Guangir in his arms and calling him, finding a new house and moving in with him. Li Ping was still reluctant to leave Simon King and refused to go, so he held the child with both hands. Hua Zixu pushed him and he fell to the ground. I let go and was surprised, but it was a dream. I broke out in a cold sweat, sobbed, and just cried until dawn. Exactly. Isn't it true that there is no waiting for love? There is poetry to prove it. The slender crescent moon shines on the silver screen, and people are about to die in the secluded boudoir. It is regrettable that there are too many romantic affairs and not enough. But you must know that love is the root of sorrow. At that time, the cargo ship coming to protect Nanjing arrived again, and Wang Xian, a young man, came up to collect the car tax and silver. Simon King wrote a book here and sent Ronghai to take 100 taels of silver and a gift of sheep, wine, gold and satin to thank the boss. Just say that this product has been taxed, and I hope you will have a good eye. The house was tidied up, and he chose early September. It opened on the 4th, and that was the day when the goods were unloaded, including luggage, and a total of 20 carts were loaded. On that day, about 30 people from relatives and friends handed over fruit boxes with red gifts, and Jia Tixing also sent people to send gifts with red gifts. Qiao Dahu called 12 musicians and jugglers. Here in Ximenxing, 3 young children, Li Ming, Wu Hui and Zheng Chen, play and sing. Guys Gen and Han both sell at the counter. One looks at the money, the other talks about the price, and Shui Ben is in charge of collecting and living. Simon King wore bright red and wore a crown. After burning the paper, relatives and friends passed fruit boxes and finished the cups. 15 tables were placed in the back hall, with 5 fruits, 5 vegetables, 3 soups and 5 cuts. Wine was handed over to sit on the table, and drums and music were loud. Sitting there are Qiao Dahu, Uncle Wu, Second Uncle Wu, Uncle Hua, Uncle Shen, Uncle Han, Wu Daoguan, Ni Shukai, Wen Quickshuan, Earl Ying, Xi Zida, Chang Zhiji, as well as Li Zi and Huang Si. Fu Zixin and other waiters, supervisors and neighbors all filled the table. 3 young children sang a set of Nanlu, Hongyi coat and Tai Kai for the newborn of Hun Yuan in front of the banquet. After a while, after 5 rounds of wine and 3 dishes of food, the musicians below were playing and singing, performing a variety of tricks, and people were drinking at the banquet. Earl Ying and Cixi flew up to the big bowl, and cups came and went. After drinking until sunset, everyone was dismissed. Simon King only left Uncle Wu, Uncle Shen, Uncle Han, Wen Quickshuan, Count Ying, and Zida to sit at the back. It was newly opened that day, and the clerk collected the account and sold more than 500 taels of silver. Simon King was so happy that he closed up the shop late at night and invited Gan, Han Fu, Chui Ben, and Chen Qingji from the 4th company to the banquet for a drink. After playing for a long time, the musicians were sent away, leaving only 3 little musicians singing in front of the banquet. Earl Ying was already drunk after eating, so he went out to relieve himself. He called Li Ming and asked, "Whose family is that handsome little ewer with a bun and a bun?" Li Ming said, "Second father did know about it?" Because he said, "It's Zheng Feng's brother Zheng Chen. The day before yesterday, my father had invited his sister a ewer." Simon King said, "Brother, congratulations for raising your brother-in-law again." Simon King said with a smile, "You are a weirdo. Don't talk nonsense." He called Wang Jing and said, "I'll give you a big glass of wine." Yinger, the Earl said to Uncle Wu, "Uncle, what do you say? I have no reputation for punishing you." Simon King said, "I'm going to punish you for talking nonsense." The Earl lowered his head and thought about it. He smiled and said, "Don't worry about it. Wait for me to eat. I can't kill anyone by eating." He also said, "I have never been able to drink dumb wine. You asked Zheng Chen to come up and sing for me to listen, and that's all I'll do." At that moment, the little boys came up to play and sing together. The Earl ordered Li Ming and Wu Hua to go down. "I don't want you to. I just want Zheng Chen to play the zheng alone and sing a little tune while I drink." Cixi shouted, "Zheng Chen, come here please. Let's sing for Yinger's father." Simon King said, "I told Huazi that there is a song for 1 hour of wine." He asked Diane to take 2 big silver bells and put them in front of Yinger. Zheng Chenqian pressed the silver zither and sang Qingzhangyan in a low voice. A girl, 16 or 17, saw a pair of butterflies playing. The fragrant shoulders are leaning against the pink wall, and the spring bamboo shoots are making tears. Call Mei Xiang and drive him to fly elsewhere. Zheng Chen sang to invite the wine, and the Earl had just finished drinking it, and Diane quickly poured it in again. Zheng Chen sang again. I turned around the railing and saw him. He was leaning against the T-frame. He pretended to be shy and straightened his phoenix pants. He didn't talk about last night, but smiled and pinched the flower pieces. After the Count had eaten, he quickly pushed Zida and said, "Come on. I can't make it. I can't make it. These 2 big clocks sent me away." Cixi said, "Silly man. You can't push me. I'm here. I'm a barbarian from your family." The Earl said, "Silly man, I will become a court official tomorrow, and I will have to replace you." Simon King said, "You are such a talented person. I have to be a Shao tomorrow." The Earl said with a smile, "Silly boy, I will give up the throne to you." Simon King smiled and ordered Diana to beat this traitor with me. Zida quietly slapped a melon on his head and said, "You are a bastard. Mr. Wen is here, and you can only talk nonsense." The Earl said, "Mr. Wen is a gentleman, and he doesn't care about this. No business." When Shukai said, "The second gentleman and I, Mr. Dongzhen, are so generous. It is true that we are not so happy in the middle of the banquet. The music master is dancing outside and is not satisfied. This is how it works." Uncle Shen said to Simon King, "Uncle, it's not like this. Please come to the table and give me an order, whether it's throwing dice, guessing coins, or looking at cards. Not just poems and songs, true continuations, and urgent commands. Let's just have a drink." The couple are even and not messy with each other. Simon King said, "That's what my uncle said." He poured a glass first and ordered it with Uncle Wu. Uncle Wu picked up the dice basin and said, "Everyone, I have an order. Follow the numbers and ask for a flower name when you encounter something. The flower name must be true, and you can say something regardless of poetry or song. If you can't say it, you will be fined. Big cup, I'll just go with you. Throw a little red. Red plum blossoms versus white plum blossoms. Uncle Wu tossed it too and got an extra cup. After drinking, it's time for Uncle Shen to take the drink. Uncle Shen said, 2 throws together with the lotus head, the lotus ripples play with the colorful mandarin duck. Uncle Shen also threw it too. After drinking 2 cups, he went over the basin to give orders to Uncle Han. Uncle Han said, 3 spring plums are thrown 3 times, and the plum blossoms are not crowned. After Uncle Han finished throwing, he ate wine and gave it to Wen Shukai. The scholar said, my student has been ordered. Number 1 pick is red. Red and purple are not considered underwear. Wen Shukai only had a glass of wine and had a meal, so he should have followed the count's orders. The earl said, I don't know a word next to you, so I won't tell you the truth. I can only give you a quick command. A hurried young man, holding a soybean bucket in his left hand and a cotton fork in his right hand, just ran away while looking in front of him. A yellow and white dog was biting the cotton fork. The anxious young man put down the soybean bag he was carrying in his left hand and walked forward to beat the yellow and white dog. I don't know if the hand fought with the dog or the dog fought with the hand. Simon King laughed and scolded, You thief! You damn thief! Who can tease a dog with just one hand? How can you not be bitten by that dog? The earl said, Who told him not to bring a stick? I am now. Huazi is missing his walking stick. He is angry with the dog. Zishidao said, Master, you see that Huazi has fallen into disgrace. Simon King said, He should be punished for 1 minute. It's not an order. Zizichen, just do it. Zishi said, I'll tell you something better than him. There are broken tiles on the wall and a mule and horse under the wall. Broken tiles fell down and the mules and horses were beaten. I don't know if the broken tiles injured the mules or horses, or if the mules and horses stepped on the broken tiles. The earl said, You are laughing at my order, but you are good at it? Your wife, Sister Liu, is just a mule, and I am just a lame donkey. Zishi Avenue, your old whore, Dumambo, has to feed the pigs and dogs with her black beans, and she doesn't want her. The 2 people argued back, and each poured for a minute. It was Han's turn to throw the black beans. Han Daoguo said, Father, how dare you, a villain, take the lead. Simon King said, Come along. Don't be inferior. So Han Daoguo said, Throw plum blossoms 5 times, and you will meet gods in the flowers. After the throw, it was time for Simon King to throw. Simon King said, I want to throw a 6. 6 throws filled the sky with stars, and the stars left the blue pool cold. Sure enough, a 6 came out. When Earl Ying saw it, he said, Brother, it will be winter this year. I will take care of things, and get a job and a salary. The Lord has something to celebrate. So he poured a large glass of wine to celebrate with Simon. At the same time, Li Ming and 3 others came up to play and sing, and they dispersed after playing until midnight. Simon King sent Xiao Yu out, check the guys, sent Ding and Daoguo, Gang Bian, Chui Ben, and Lai Bao to stay overnight in turns. He told them to look carefully at the door, and then went over there. 1 night is not a problem. The next day, Earl Ying brought Li Zi and Huang Xi to hand over the money and said, Only 1,456 taels of silver were detained in this case, which was not enough to pay back. I only took 350 taels of silver with my father. I won't wait until I get out of jail to finish the search. The count said another kind words for him. Simon Xingjia Chen Jingji came, exchanged the money clearly, and sent it away. The money was still on the table. Simon Kingyan asked the count. Second brother Chang said that he had found his house, with 4 rooms in front and back, and only needed 35 taels of silver. He came to me and said that when the child was seriously ill, I was heartbroken. I don't know if he told you to come. The earl said, He told me to come. I said, You are not here. He is not good. He is in a state of chaos. What's wrong with him? Is your mood talking to you? Don't go back to the house. I'll do it for you when I see my brother. Simon King said, That's fine. You can get a letter with 50 taels of silver. Today is a good day. Let's finish the house for him. For the rest, let Brother Chang open a small shop and earn a few dollars a month, which will be enough for him and his wife. The count said, This is my brother. I'll take care of him. After a while, the table was put and Simon King ate with him and said, I won't keep you. Just take the money and do the work for him. The Earl said, "Why don't you teach a high-ranking official to go with me here?" Simon King said, "It's no nonsense. Just leave it alone." The Earl said, "That's not what I'm talking about. I have some small things to do today." "Really?" And brother said, "It was my cousin Santa's birthday. I sent some gifts in the morning, and he sent a young man to invite me to sit down in the afternoon. I couldn't answer your question, so he asked a senior official to follow him, and it became a house. So you can teach him what to say to you." Simon King said, "If you want to say it, ask Wang Jing to go with you." At the same time, he asked Wang Jing and the count to come to Chang's house. Chang Jiji was at home. When the count arrived, he asked him to come inside and sit down. The Earl took out the silver and showed it to Chang Jiji, and said, "The high official is like this. He asked me to marry you today. I have no time to spare. Brother Du Sanj invited me to have a drink. I will finish your business now. I just have to go." Chang Jiji quickly asked his wife to come to see the tea and said, "Who is willing to accept my kindness?" After having tea, he called the people in the house and went to Xinxi Street to exchange the money with the seller. Write the property deed. The Earl told Wang Jing to return home to Ximen to celebrate. The remaining money was collected by Chang Jiji. He said goodbye to Chang Jiji and went to Du's house to have a drink. Simon King read the deed and asked Wang Jing to send it and Changer to accept it. Exactly. When asking for help, you must ask for a man. When helping others, you must help when there is a need. Everything is inferior. Who knows that kindness is a good idea?
Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.